Hello everyone, this is Kim with Abundant Life Tarot, and this is part 2 of my spiritual intervention little mini series, very mini series this time. I actually had recorded these videos. I didn't say this in part 1 earlier in the day, but there was some weird noises happening with the microphone because my necklaces kept hitting it, and I was like, I cannot put this out, no way. So I re-recorded everything, and then I realized I could combine parts 1 and 2 together, which I did, or 1 and 3. And part 2 is the tarot spread that I've created. And so that's what we're talking about right now. It's part 2. I came up with what's called a spiritual intervention tarot spread. You can also use it with Oracle. I encourage you to watch part 1 of my spiritual intervention little discussion, because you'll kind of get an understanding of what you're looking for when you're doing the spiritual intervention tarot or oracle spread. So I guess I'll flash it at the end of we'll see. I'll probably flash the actual spread. This is actually my printout of it. I'll do it before and then at the end of the reading, so you can see it a little up close here. But just so you know, some of the questions, or all of the questions, there's 7 questions. The first one is, what was a past spiritual intervention moment for me? I wanted to throw that in because I figured it'd be nice to kind of get a calibration of, for you, what does it kind of show up as? What kind of energy does it have with it? And what was the hidden blessing of that past spiritual intervention is card number 2. Card number 3 is, where is spiritual intervention showing up in my life right now? Number 4, what is a blessing or advice to the situation in question number 3? The 5th card is a current situation I'm going through. The 5th card, which is here's the question. It says, is a current situation I'm going through part of my latest spiritual intervention? And then the card in that particular position is probably going to tell you yay or nay, and it's going to tell you kind of what area is showing up in. Okay, based on like the suit, or if it's a major arcana card or what have you, you'll be able to kind of know, okay, this is where it's showing up, or it's not. There's nothing there, So we'll see how it shows up in my reading. Card 6, what's a hidden blessing in my current situation? Not necessarily just the overall spiritual intervention, but for just the immediate situation that I'm in right now that's probably causing me some heartache, because spiritual intervention, it could be one event or it could be a cluster, but all a part of one, if that makes any sense. Okay. And then the card number 7, which is the last one right here. That is the outcome. What's on the other side of my latest spiritual intervention? So yeah. Oh, looks like they're gone. They must have collected. Sorry. In part 1, the fire department was here. And I don't know. I think it must have been something fast. They weren't here, but maybe 10 minutes. But I guess you have to be fast. I don't know. It was just strange. I'm like, I hope everyone out there is okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch angles, and I'm going to do the tarot spread on myself. All right, let's go. Okay, here we go. Let's get ready to do this tarot spread. So for me, number 1, card 1. And what I'm going to do is any cards that jump, because this is going to be a 7-card spread, if more than one jumps, I'm going to have it go to the next card position. I just like to say it before so that it's clear. Okay, first question I'm focusing in on is, what was a past spiritual intervention moment for me? And we've got the 7 of coins. Okay. What was the hidden blessing of that spiritual intervention? Okay. Oh, I need to turn these up this way. Okay. What was the hidden blessing of that past spiritual intervention? The Page of Blades. Okay. All right. Where is spiritual intervention showing up in my life right now? Three of Blades. Okay. What is a blessing or advice to this particular situation in question 3? Okay. We've got Knight of Coins. Okay. And then card number 5. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Is a current situation I'm going through part of my latest spiritual intervention? Is a current situation I'm thinking of that I'm going through part of my latest spiritual intervention? We've got Queen of Elixirs or Queen of Cups. Okay. What's a hidden blessing in my current situation? 5 of Blades. Interesting. And finally, the outcome. What's on the other side of my latest spiritual intervention? Okay. 7 of Elixirs. And I'm just going to flesh out a little bit with my oracle for the outcome. Anything else? Oh. Worship, breath, opposition. Okay. So for me, let's see. Question or card number 1 was, what was a past spiritual intervention moment for me? And recently, with the 7 of Coins, I went through a point of I felt like I was just working and working, and not really, I was in the throes of my career and not really feeling like I'm moving ahead. I feel like I've gone too far to go back now. And it was just an interesting time because I was like, the spiritual intervention that came was news that they weren't really going to be hiring in our location anymore. And that if you really wanted to get ahead in the company I was working for, you were going to have to relocate to another part of the country. And I just was not feeling that. So the hidden blessing that came from that spiritual intervention, because at first even though I was unhappy, even though I was kind of bored and kind of like, this is feeling like so not what I want to do for the rest of my life, I would have still been just doing it, but for that spiritual intervention moment that came about. So it came down and it got me to moving. You know, with the Page of Blades, it was like I started getting new ideas about what kind of work I wanted to do during my day. Do I really feel like relocating or not? And so I started making some new moves, having some new beginnings in new ideas of what kind of work I wanted to do. And I started getting news of different opportunities that would exercise my brain, and yet I could still be compensated for it. Yes, not as handsomely as how much I started to attain in my, long-term insurance career, but certainly a new beginning that was worthy of me looking at. So I like that, because that was definitely a spiritual intervention. I would have continued on my same path of going to work and not being happy or fulfilled for many, probably more years to come, had that not come down the pike. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Universe. Next step is card number 3. Because these were the 2 cards. Card number 3 is, where is spiritual intervention showing up in my life right now? And what is a blessing or advice to the situation in question number 3? So a spiritual intervention is showing up like where I've been, feeling like I have been betraying or letting people down or disappointing people because I've got so much on my plate that I'm not able to be everywhere that I want to be or need to be right now. And currently right now, it's come to a point where I had to be realistic about my schedule and realistic about what I can offer and what I can promise and what I can't. And so the reason I think this is speaking to like my business, because this is where I'm feeling like I'm spreading myself too thin, by promising all these things and then feeling awful if I cannot deliver, or if I deliver, late or what have you. It's stressing me out. So the Knight of Coins is a welcome sight, because it's saying, you know what? Take a step back here and be like the Knight of Coins. You want to move forward in your career. You want to, be reliable, trustworthy, and someone who can be counted upon. So yeah, these balls dropped. Yeah, you've let down some people, and that was your spiritual intervention moment. It's spiritual intervention for me because I hate letting people down. Like, it just makes me so sad, like on the inside. It makes me, I beat myself up. Like the advice that I gave in part 1 about, I have to follow myself, and I have a hard time because I want to be everything to everyone all the time, but really I can't. I'm one person. I have a quote unquote day job. I have a business, and then I have my kids and my husband. It really should be in that order, but that's kind of the order. And I need to really do some reassessment on my priorities and really start to look at the offerings that I've been given or giving out to, to the world, and seeing if that is something that I should be doing, or now maybe I need to take a step back and just, be very conscientious, like the Knight of Coins. Take on what I can take on, do it well, even if it's just a little bit. And that way I'm not over promising and under delivering. And then we move on to card number 5 and number 6. Card number 5 is a current situation I'm going through, part of my latest spiritual intervention. And yeah, it is. The Queen of Elixirs, or Queen of Cups, is telling me that I want to be a nurturer. I want to be a sensual woman who is able to really enjoy everything around her, the people around her, be nurturing, supportive of other people's endeavors, of their heart-centered matters. I'm very heart-centered, and I love connection with people and being intimate with people, and also being intimate with my husband. But lately, because I'm so freaking busy, like, we haven't really gone on a date night in forever. And then we also have now different like sleep times. Like, he goes to bed way earlier than I do. And because I'm busy, I've got my business, and I had started a new day job working in public service. And so it's just like, I have so much conflict around my schedule. I feel like there's no winners or losers. I'm just a loser in every situation. I'm just not. So it's so this is, what is a hidden blessing in my current situation? Well, conflict. What happened was, my husband and I started getting into conflicts over the master bedroom. Like, I want to be able to go to bed whenever. I go to bed late. I get very few hours of sleep. I get the bare minimum. He needs several hours of sleep. He's an earth sign. He needs quiet, and I'm the opposite. I like noise when I fall asleep. So we started getting into little conflicts. And you would think, after all these years of us knowing each other, that this conflict in particular would have come up, but it hasn't. It's not until I became so busy and I've been having so many scheduling conflicts that this has come about, where we started having a little arguments about it. So what I think is what we recently have come up with is we've turned a couple of spare areas in our house, spare like bedrooms, into a place where I can go and do my readings, where I'm not disturbing everyone. And then when it's time to go to sleep, I just go on to bed quietly. And so I think that's gonna work out. But my husband now wants us to be able to fall asleep at the same time. That means a lot to him. And I'm like, look, let's take it one step at a time. So there may be more conflict with this 5 of blades in my midst in the coming months until we work it out. But the hidden blessing is that he spoke up about it. He was like feeling like, he missed me and that we really need to reconnect again. And I was realizing that things are really out of balance, out of whack. There were other things showing up in my life that were showing up to me that things are in conflict and out of whack. Like, I found out one of my dear friends that I've known for a long, long time, she went in for an angiogram. I feel like that was something I should have known. And not that, maybe it was private, but she's not that kind of person. She would have told me if she could have reached me, right? And then she had a major stroke. And it made me realize I'm busy, but I need to also make sure I have enough time in my life to live. So the conflicts that were popping up in my life recently, saying, hey, you forgot about me over here, is helping me to see that I need to nurture and take care of myself. I forgot about that. I forgot about nurturing and taking care of my relationship with my husband, nurturing and caring for my relationships with my family members, my sister, my kids, everybody, my best friends. Everything kind of got out of whack. But sometimes it's conflict that really helps us to see that things aren't really hunky-dory like we thought. Things are actually starting to kind of fall off the rails, and now it's the time for me to do something about it. Here is a golden opportunity to turn something that would felt like meh into something great, into something that could work. And then we move into the outcome. What's on the other side of my latest spiritual intervention? Options, many options. The 7 of elixirs, many options to choose from in terms of maybe if I started to focus in on just getting really clear on the offerings that I want to offer for clients, maybe not so many offerings, maybe just getting good and, with just maybe 7 offerings in my store. And that's it. I don't know. Sometimes I literally take the literal number on the card as a clue for what's coming up. Maybe there's many options that me and my husband can explore on fixing our bedtime solutions. Maybe there's many options to support how I can clear my schedule and leave room for the things that I love. And so I like that. And being careful what I'm worshiping to. I'm now looking at, am I worshiping to my workaholism? Or is it supposed to be something else here? What do I want to worship? And breath, being in the moment to pay attention to the breath, to be in the present now. The breath card is important to me because there was a time when I was so busy. I was working 12-hour days, about 6 days a week at one point after a major a natural disaster catastrophe. And I ended up getting a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot to the lung, because I was sedentary. That was one of the reasons why it happened. But nevertheless, it happened. And it was a major spiritual intervention moment in my life. I realized I had gone way off course. I didn't even recognize my life after that, and I didn't even recognize my body. And I felt so upset, so sad that I got to the point where I almost died because of my worship to work, worship to being hella busy. And so I had to get back on track, and I had to get back to stillness and being in the moment. And that's what this card reminds me of for me personally, is being in the moment. And then opposition. Sometimes opposition happens and it's a good thing. If people were just kind of going along with me and going along with, how I would do it, I'd never see them. My friends have now become very insistent, like, no, look at your calendar again, Kimberly, and see when you can pencil us in. I'm going to follow up with you. And they do. And then I'm so happy they did. We get together. We have a great time. So the opposition, I'm not so opposed to anymore, because I realize it's a blessing when people stand up to me and they know the intention that I set way back when I used to say friendships mean so much to me. When I used to say that my relationship with my spouse means everything to me, my kids, everything, my parents, you can go on and on and on. And so I love this. The spiritual interventions come in all kinds of ways. It comes in all kinds of packages. And the tarot can sometimes help us unpack what it is, especially when we're doing tarot for ourselves. You could do this tarot reading, I get a sense, for other people, sure, most certainly. But I really wanted to get something that we all as readers could do for ourselves, and maybe do like I did, use a pip deck where you really can just kind of go in and pull from different places inside your psyche when you're working with this particular tarot spread. Although you'd probably be just fine with the oracle deck or fully illustrated, like a full on Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Just some tips, just some ideas. Anyways, my dears, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you do this spread, if you had to modify it, what you learned from doing this spread. I'm always curious to hear. Even if it takes me a few days to get back to you, I do read every single message, and I do try to eventually get back to everyone, because everyone always shares some really awesome bits of info and insight with me and with all of you. So share away. All right, my loves. Thank you all so much for watching. See you all in the next video. Bye.